If you could hear me, it might be a good plan to, what do you call that? Pull out on your picture because the two of you don't quite fit in the frame
Yeah.
you have.
Kevin kept drifting out, huh?
Yeah, and then you would have only one ear, which is not attractive at all. That works fine.
Oh, you don't like that? I think it's cute. Is that better?
It's just gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to like drink your wine like that. That's all.
We've drank wine closer than this.
Yeah, I don't need to know.
We have practice.
All righty.
Can you still hear us okay?
I'm in a very short period of time I'm gonna start talking, but my brain is still processing this whole delay thing and the
Okay.
blank looks on your faces. And so I need to get into step with it.
Should we look like very
Just
intrigued
nod a lot.
in advance?
You're the only one with a good smile, so it's good. You sit there and smile all the time, which is because I'm like, yeah, you.
Cost you enough.
I'm pretty sure the county of Los Angeles paid for that.
Oh, nice. Good.
Okay, welcome to Side by Sides, where we try to learn something about wine by trying two or more of them side by side and see what the differences are. This is episode number 1, and I am Mike, a winemaker, and we have two test subjects who are my co-hosts who should introduce themselves. Test subjects. We have names.
Me first. I'm Rachel. Hi, I'm the winemaker's daughter.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm the son-in-law.
Nicely done. So today for episode 1, we were going to be talking about climates and the differences between climates and some of the things they can do to wines. And our two wines are both going to be made out of Chardonnay. One of these wines is a Chablis from the north of France, and the other one is an unoaked Chardonnay from Sonoma area of California. And so why are we doing that? So first of all, in places like France and Europe, they don't call wine by what it is, like Chardonnay. They call it by where they made it. So Chablis is a place, and it is a place that is roughly at the 49th parallel of latitude, which you could think of as the border with Canada as a practical reference. And then, of course, Sonoma is from much further south and just north of the San Francisco Bay Area of California. So in Chablis, they have a cooler climate, and in Sonoma, they have a warmer climate. And in theory, this by itself should cause some differences in the wine. So in a cooler climate, the growing season will be shorter. And so probably the wines are going to develop less sugar in the grapes and therefore will have less alcohol. Opposite situation in a warm climate. Also, because the climate is cooler and they're not going to get any riper than they are, you're really going to pick them earlier than you would in a warmer climate. So in addition to having not as much sugar in the northern one, you will also have more acids normally, because when grapes ripen, what happens is the fruit is obviously getting riper and developing more flavors. Sugars are going up, but the acids are going down. So in a warmer climate, there's this whole little balance you have to do between, do we have enough flavor? Are we getting too much sugar? And are we losing too much acid? Because those things are all in conflict. Anyway, so our particular wines, and I should say for the viewers, there's going to be a list of at least the next 10 episodes that will call out particular wines that you could go to a local store and get, because we're going to be picking out common, easily found wines that are not terribly expensive for this series. So you would be able to go get these, have a little party with your friends, and taste along with us while learning something about wine. That's what the objective is here. Anyway, the two wines for today, the Chablis is Joseph Durin, Chablis Domaine de Vaudan, and it's about a $30 bottle. It's not terribly expensive. And our other wine, the Sonoma wine, is a Due West Sonoma, and it specifically says unoaked Chardonnay. So, and you really want to get an unoaked Chardonnay because in France, they wouldn't really oak them. So the Chablis is not going to be oaked, but in California, they very typically do oak Chardonnays. So you have to make a special effort to find an unoaked one. And it wouldn't matter if you got these exact two bottles. But if you got a Chablis and you got unoaked Chardonnay from somewhere in the lower latitudes, Paso Robles, Australia even, it would work fine for the purposes of what we're doing right here. And then I should also say, sometimes in California, it'll say unoaked and sometimes it will say naked. Naked means unoaked in wine talk. So for example, at Dark Star, we have a wine called Dirty Naked Chardonnay because it is both unoaked and unfiltered. So it will have some sediments in it. Right. So the Chardonnay from the north would typically have flavors that are citrusy in nature. And then the farther south you move, the more that could turn into more tropical fruit flavors. And whether we're going to see that in these two wines for sure, I don't know. We'll find that out in a minute. But we will find that out very soon. So everybody should have their glass of wine now because we need to proceed to our tasting portion. And generally speaking, you see it, you swirl it, you sniff it, you sip it, and you savor it. And so what that really means, we're going to look at both glasses and see if they look the same or a little different. And then swirling it is agitating the wine, which will release some of the volatile chemicals and make it more odoriferous or smell more so you can pick up the smells more easily. And then, of course, sipping it just gives you the basic flavors. And savory means we're going to hold it in our mouth and see how those flavors change a little bit over time, which they're just going with it. They're just starting, which is fine because they can't hold themselves back from tasting wine, apparently. I see this.
Surely I'm allowed to smell without permission.
Okay.
You expect me to sit here and not smell it?
I thought it was down the hatch. That's what it looked like to me.
We'll sniff.
Okay, good.
No,
so let us
not
sniff.
yet. I have some restraint.
Let us see and sniff and smell. So tell me what you're picking up visually out of this. And by the way, for audience purposes, it's really best.
The Chardonnay is far less colorful. I think the Chablis is more almost like yellow. It has almost an amber tinge to it. I think the Chardonnay is far thinner on color.
I agree. And, that's kind of interesting in a way because in a warmer climate, you might expect even deeper colors. But again, that is an artifact of the winemaking, and that could come from how quickly they got it off the skins, for example. So if you leave the Chardonnay or white wine on the skins for a longer period of time, it picks up more color. And if you just throw it straight into the press and mash it in a very short period of time, it doesn't pick up as much color. But points on that one for sure. We're going to smell.
Yeah, let's give them a little sniff.
Oh, it's very different.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes in wine tasting, one of the things you do is see from how far away can you smell it. And so you can't really see in this video, but you might hold it, for example, at chest level. Can you smell it there or not? If not, can we smell it now? Or do we have to put our nose straight into it to be able to smell it? And that's just a measure of the volatility of it.
I think the Chardonnay is far less volatile.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's got a lot less sniff to it. The Chardonnay, the Chablis, I can smell from my belly button.
I think the Chardonnay, I guess that's like a green skin smell.
Yeah, and that would be a fair typical smell to find in a Chardonnay or Chablis in this. Did you say the Chardonnay or the Chablis?
The Chardonnay. The Chablis has an almost like banana or like tropical smell.
Yeah, fruity.
How, I opened my bottles earlier today and they've been sitting out because I ran some chemical tests on them just because I was curious. So mine are like room temperature now. Yours are probably still a little bit chilled, right?
Yes, they came out of the wine fridge just a few minutes ago.
Yeah. So I think they're like correct white wine temperatures.
No, I think the Chardonnay is also, it has more of a, almost like a crispness, like an acid.
What did you learn in your science experiments? Anything interesting?
Yeah. So the Chablis has a alcohol by volume of 12.6%, whereas the California Chardonnay is at 13.2%, which is consistent with what we were talking about earlier, with warmer temperatures creating more sugars, therefore more alcohols. The acids, so there's kind of two ways of measuring acids. Like one of them is what's called titratable acidity, which is like, we could think about it as the number of acid molecules that are in there. And then the other way is pH, which you could think about as the number of acid molecules that are actually doing anything, because the acid could be somewhat neutralized by other chemicals. Fair enough. So these two wines actually had identical titratable acidities, and it was 0.52 grams per hectoliter, and which is actually a little bit low. Something in the range of 6 to 6.5 might make more sense for a white wine, but it's kind of within the broad range of where it should be. The Chablis had a pH of 3.24, and the Chardonnay had 3.46, keeping in mind that pH is backwards. A smaller pH is more acidic than a larger pH. So that's where we stand on that stuff. Other thoughts about these two things before we close off and move along?
I haven't actually tried the
Taste them.
Chardonnay yet. Yeah, I tried the Chablis, and it was very fruity and
Okay, so you were talking about Chablis before, so now we're going to talk about the Chardonnay.
kind of tart. I was.
Yeah, the Chardonnay is it has less like body, and it's also more like green apple-y.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit less tart.
Yeah.
I like this one better.
You're voting for the Chablis?
No, she likes the Chardonnay.
No, my vote's for the Chardonnay.
Okay, so you like the California Chardonnay.
I disagree.
Well, that's all right. We've got one bottle of each sitting here open, so.
All righty. For our next plan, this episode, of course, was about climate and comparing two different Chardonnays from different climates. And the next episode is going to be about oak. So next time we're going to have an unoaked Chardonnay from California, because that's easier to get. And we're also going to have an oaked Chardonnay. And when we try those two things, that'll tell us something about oak. And the exact wines one is called Cru, CRU, which is, and we'll say unoaked Chardonnay on it. It's like $32 retail. And the other one is called Unruly Rampant. It has one of those edgy names, and that will be an oak Chardonnay, and that's like a $20 bottle or something like that. So those will be our two wines for next time. Meanwhile, thank you for joining us for this wine tasting experience, and we hope we will see
Thank you.
next time.